We're live.
We're live.
You're live on your end?
We are, yes.
Okay. All right. Hang tight just a moment. Let me make sure I see us on my page. Yes. Now let me see if I can go in and tag you, Miss Lindsay, so that we will also be live on your page. Yes. I'm getting so darn techie.
You're so good. You are so good. I feel like my work here is done. I introduced you to StreamYard and now my work is done.
You not only did you introduce me to StreamYard, but 15 minutes after you told me about it, I was like, can we actually literally at this exact moment go live right now in our treasure tribe, and you can teach everybody else about StreamYard as well?
Yeah. I love it. That's how I roll in life. So it's totally fine. I can move on the fly. That's no problem.
Well, this is why we get along so well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be here with you today, Lindsay Hale. For those of you that do not know Lindsay, and you're watching on my personal page, I first met Lindsay about this time last year. It was about this time last year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been just an amazing year. So we'll be talking more about that in a hot minute. For those of you that are watching on Lindsay's page, my name is Tish Mefford, and I live in Texas, in the Dallas area. And I have had the pleasure of working with Lindsay this last year. I have been at our company for about 3.5 years. Prior to that, I was at another direct selling company for about a decade. And from our very first conversation, we had a lot in common.
We did. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, let me back up for a second though and say that Tish was not who introduced me to Park Lane. I've actually known about Park Lane since as long as I've been in the direct selling industry. I've known actually about Park Lane, but I was with another company, and anyway, I had already learned all about Park Lane. I had gotten the information a couple of months prior, like in June of 2019, 2020, maybe that was 2020. Anyway, I decided that it wasn't for me. And I was on the path of coaching, and I had, written my book, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this. And so my friend introduced me to you and said, hey, you need to meet Tish because she's going to need you to train about Enneagram. Like, this is going to be such a great community for you.
I was very curious about Enneagram. I was very curious about offering that training to our team. And so we literally just got on the phone. I was like, just tell me more about what you're doing and what the benefits and this and that. And then
Tish told me her story of leaving and what she had experienced through her company and what caused her to leave, because Tish, for those of you on my live, on my end, you guys know that, or you may not know that Tish left a very large, multiple six-figure income, went from one company to another, a very well-known company that kind of had started around the same time that my company did, or at least had their growth spurt in that time period. And I was like, how did you do that? Because at that time I knew I was coaching to leave my company. That was really my main goal. Like, if I'm completely honest with myself, back when I initially started writing my book, I really was looking for at very least the second stream of income, but I really truly knew that I was being called elsewhere eventually. I couldn't imagine that I had kind of peaked by age 31, which is what I was when I first got to the very top at my previous company.
Don't you know? Isn't it like a giggle to think that you even had that thought in your head? Seriously?
Yeah. That's so weird. Yeah, it is so weird when you start putting it together backwards. And even in my book, I mean, when people read my book now, I'm always kind of I wonder what people think, because there are chapters. I know, Tish, when you read my book at first, you were like, hey, this is really interesting, because when you wrote this, you were nowhere, I was nowhere near the path of leaving. As a matter of fact, I talk a lot about rebuilding. And so I know I'm kind of skipped ahead, but I really talk a lot about the rebuilding part. And my, I don't know that was ever my vision, but I felt like I I don't know that I felt like I had a choice. And so when Tish shared her story with me, it was funny. I immediately got off the phone with my friend who had introduced me to Tish. And I was like, why are you having her recruit me? I was so mad. She was like, I specifically said, do not recruit her. I do not want her recruited. She is not interested. She's happy where she is. And I was like, in that moment, I knew that it was so crazy, because literally like the week before I had been on a call with my, with like all the top people in our company. It was probably like 1 or 2 weeks prior to this. I mean, it was not very much time. In tears, like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that I'm here. Like I was totally planning to stick it out. Like I was staying, I was going down with the ship. Like I was gonna stay. I was moved to stay. Like, I wanted to stay through the hard times. And when I talked to you and heard your story, I think it was, first of all, reassuring that there was life outside of where I was.
Right.
I think it was a story of hope, you know, and that's really why I'm sharing today, is because I truly think that, Tish, had you just called me and we just talked about Enneagram, my path would be completely different. And frankly, like I'd have been fine, but fine has never been okay with me before. So I'm not sure why in that point in my life that I was fine with being fine. Right. Or telling myself like, oh, it's just a season. Oh, it's just a season. It'll be fine. All companies go through this. Everybody has their ups and downs. But this was a different kind of down that I had been in. The down that we had been for years. I mean, years and years.
So this was one of the things that I think was that we connected, and I'm kind of remembering, and I mean, we're so ahead of ourselves here. And in a moment, we actually are going to hear Lindsay's story from like the start. Like we actually are. But I remember one of the things that I think you and I really connected on was the fact that, you know, I had seen a downward turn for about 5 years. And in that 5 years, it was like 5 years of growth, 5 years of decline. So in that 5 years of decline, I had also gone searching and seeking for options. You know, I had considered and talked to people, and I was on a podcast a couple years ago where I literally talked about this. I talked about layering things in like what you did. I talked to a professional speaker, trainer, where you go and you pay a lot of money for them to train you how to speak to thousands. And I considered going on the speaker circuit. I considered, layering in coaching to, people within my industry, not within my company, in order to attract more to the opportunity that I was at the time. And the two differences between you and I were, number one, you acted on this. You acted on this because you were looking for a way to make it work. Mm-hmm. I didn't act on it because I had been a small business owner for a decade prior to getting into this profession. And remember, you and I talked, I don't even know if you remember this, but I remember telling you, I kept stopping. Like I would literally have those conversations and I was like, something like where something was pulling you to do, something was pulling me to not. And I know what was pulling me not to do it was I knew how hard it was to be a small business owner. I know what that looks like. And it's why I've loved this profession for the last 14 years, because I get to be an entrepreneur and work for myself, but not by myself, and have a community of people that I'm working together and we're collaborating. And, I've got a company that I'm partnered with. And so anyway, I remember this was the thing. It was like, we were the same person at two different companies. You took one, you turned to the right, I turned to the left, or stood still until I found what I felt was actually my answer. And I remember that's what kept us on the phone forever. It was like, it was really crazy. We both had been in that same space.
Well, yeah, there were so many connections. And I will say, so I had gotten the information from Park Lane, and I know we're going to tell my story, but I kind of want to just say that, and I hope that this actually intrigues people to listen more. When I first heard about Park Lane, I was like, told you got to stay away from those Park Lane ladies. Like they are aggressive, and they're going to try to steal you, and they're going to try to come after you, and you got to stay away from them. And it was not even like, I was at a vendor event with my other company and somebody said that. I mean, I didn't even stop. Like, I did not even stop to look at the Park Lane jewelry, because whoever was next to me, I don't know, I think it was a Mary Kay lady, like, she scared me to death of the Park Lane ladies. And so, I mean, Park Lane is literally like my neighbor. It's like an hour and a half up the road for me. I never really knew anybody who sold it, but I had already heard a little bit about Park Lane. And then I had a really good friend who joined, and I kind of was like, oh, that poor thing, they got her. That's really what I told myself along the way. Like, it was an interesting story. So I don't know where you want to start, but well, I dive in.
We'll have to come back to that, because it is really funny to, like, the perception versus reality. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that, perception versus reality. So let's go back, because it's always fun to hear how people, like, what is your background and how did you originally walk through the door of this profession in this industry?
Yeah. So that's an interesting story, but like, I truly, like, if you want to know, like, the down and dirty of it, so I was raised in a home where my parents did a direct selling company, a very well-known one that doesn't have a great reputation. And I always kind of thought that direct selling was like scurvy. Like, I was super turned off by the profession. And I say all these things out loud because I think it's important that people realize that we didn't all, like, just jump in here thinking like, oh, this is totally going to be the greatest thing ever. But I had an 8-month-old and found out that I was pregnant with our second child. We had just moved 2 weeks prior to me finding out I was pregnant. And back in the day, you used to be able to buy a home based on a trailing spouse income. So it makes me sound so old when I say that, but it's true. So I was supposed to be getting a job, and I found myself pregnant, and it didn't matter what year it was. People don't want to hire someone who's pregnant. So I do have a college degree. I have a background in communications and theater arts. So, I mean, I always kind of thought that I would work in television, to be honest with you. Kind of landed myself in marketing. I have dabbled in a lot of different things. And to be quite honest with you, my husband will tell you I could never keep a job. I would either quit the job or get fired from it, because I don't work well. I don't work well for other people. I like to have my own ideas and control. And at the time, it just appeared to be rebellion, but anyway, so I had this, little baby at home, and I was pregnant, and we were broke, like super broke. And I had started doing in-home daycare. And listen, I have 5 children now, and
I didn't like daycare prepared you for that. You did not know.
No, I don't like to feed or clothe my own children or craft with them. So, like, to do it with somebody else's kids was not for me. But I was like desperate. I mean, we needed the money. Our marriage was kind of in trouble. And so somebody had told me about the company that I worked for previously. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just desperate enough that I'll try anything. So what the heck? And my goal was to make $300 I was hoping for about 3 or 4 months. And then I figured I'd just have to go get a waitressing job. I thought I was going to be 4 or 5 months pregnant waitressing. I didn't know. And so obviously that was history. I was there for 13 and a half years. I grew to the top of the business very quickly. They created at one point, I think it was in 2012, they created another level of leadership that only 12 people were assigned a title to. I was in that meeting. I was one of those first people. We were on top of the world. Like, we were growing like crazy. My team was huge. It was almost 9,000 people. At that point, I had probably 150 leaders underneath me at some point somewhere. We were making heavy 6-figure incomes, almost 7-figure incomes at the time. And, I thought that it would never end. And we built our life around that. We had 2 kids when I started. We added and kept adding and kept adding and kept adding. Actually, the people in my old company laughed that I was pregnant at like every major event we had. So,
Ah,
so
love
yeah, so
that.
I have 5 kids. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. He has always been super focused, but at one point, he even stayed home for a little while with our kids. So,
That was something else that we had in common.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of like in a nutshell, a super big nutshell, like where I came from and how it all kind of grew.
So like you were the dream that people read about, read about, watch about, and obviously something changed, I guess. Something changed.
Yeah. So,
And
well, it really started that year, like that 2012 year. Actually, in my first couple of weeks into the company, the career path changed. At the time, I had no idea what that even meant. But I guess there was a big group of people who left during that time. I've heard that story. I don't know. But they just kind of increased some minimums and things like that. Just some little tweaks here and there that a baby company does. I mean, the company was almost 5 years old when I joined. So it was a baby company. And I don't know that anybody ever sold it to me as a ground floor opportunity because I don't know that I would have ever known what that was. I was just looking to make some money and I liked the products. I thought they were affordable enough for somebody just like me. And so anyway, in 2012, when they added that next level of leadership, it really rocked the other levels. Of course, I was one of the people who was on top of the mountain, right? Like I was on top of the world. So to me, it was just the story that I told myself to kind of not deflate is like, hey, yeah, that's too bad that you're jealous. That's too bad. And what ended up happening is it just started kind of a division at that point. I think it was meant to be an aspirational role, and it ended up being something that truly divided our field. It made things really difficult. Then a couple years later, there were some really big changes in the opposite direction. So I don't really know kind of what led to that. I mean, I always felt like I was doing well, but we had some meetings where we were called into some meetings with some executives and they had shared with us, like in about 18 months, we're going to be doing some restructures to our career path and it may affect you. At the time when they told me it may affect me, I was so safe that I like literally didn't even listen to the presentation. I mean, I had so many leaders that I was like, this is not even pertain to me. I'm fine. And like I said before, like I was just arrogant. Like I thought these are cute little changes you're making for everybody else, but they really aren't going to affect me. And I don't want to like undersell myself. Like I wasn't leading in an arrogant way. It just, I kind of felt like that meeting was to inform me that this would be happening to other people. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, by the time the 18 months came, I went from having 20 some leaders on my first line, which is what I need, way more than what I needed in order to stay, to going all the way down to 10 because of the changes. People were just like leaving left and right. They were going to other newer companies that were now considered the ground floor opportunities. And they were just jumping out left and right. I mean, my days were spent with hurt feelings, losing friendships, fighting with people about things these were friends that I had for a really long time, leaving for other companies. But I think at the time it was just like the changes, they saw that the changes were truly going to affect them financially. And I kept saying, things like, oh my gosh, it's fine. Like, just work harder, do more. Like, let's just do this. Like, we're just going to get it done. It's going to be fine. It's to protect the company. It's to protect the future. It's to protect the legacy. All of those things are what I think I said. And then my title changed. And then I guess it would have been July of 2020 or January of 2020, there was just a huge change in our compensation plan, like a big one. They took away a complete line of people we were getting paid on. And so altogether from the time of 2012, where I was on top of that mountain until then, my pay went down 90%. like 90, not 19.
You built a life on that income. You bought a home on that income, and kids in school.
I mean, we had 5 children on that income. Like, had we not had that kind of income, we might not have had as many children. We may have only had 2. You know, like, it didn't afford us the life that I don't want to say we were promised it, because nobody ever promised me anything. Yeah. But the truth was, I was working harder than I had ever worked before toward the end. And I couldn't figure it out. Like, in my mind, I kept thinking, like, what is wrong with me? And like, why can't I work hard enough? Why don't I have that drive that I had in the beginning? Was I just younger? Was it because I was prettier then? Was it because I was interacting with young moms then? Like, what was it? And I mean, we were even told at some points, like, you need to go and meet younger moms. Well, then
we were told the same thing. We were told, and I believed it. Honestly, I was trying to figure out how to do that. And I mean, I'm older than you are, so yes, we were told that the worst thing that could happen in this business is that your field gets older. You don't want an aging field. And so our job was to go and recruit the 26-year-olds. So this is going to sound really messed up when I say this. Like, I actually can't believe I'm going to say this out loud on. Oh no. Facebook.
Oh no. But
I don't know where you're going with this, Lindsay, but okay.
Are you scared?
A little, but go for it.
So I remember texting, let's just say somebody really important in the company, and telling them that I had figured out a way to get into the young mom crowd. And when that person responded and said, how, I said, well, I'm going to have another baby. I legit believed that was like my in, that was going to change my business, that like I had this huge gap in kids. That is not why I got pregnant, people. I did not know. I was not trying to get pregnant.
Big surprise. Yes.
I believed in my heart that, like, oh my gosh, okay, well, maybe this is just God's way of like opening up my business again. I'm going to be able to like rebirth it.
Yeah. And I just have to say for a moment, because I kind of started believing the same thing, that I was like, well, I can tell you for a fact, I got to a place where I would talk to people when I was with my former company. I would talk to people that were in my life stage. And I mean, I'm now officially an empty nester. I'm, in my early 50s. I'm not 50, I'm over 50. And, I remember I would talk to people that were in my life stage, and it's like I was talking to a wall. Like, they were looking at me like, I'm not remotely interested. Okay. So that was then. And then I look at what we do now, and and I'm going to shout out 2 of our top sellers on our team. There are many top sellers in Park Lane, but Tanya Trombley and Jerry Arnold, I'm putting them both in my age bracket because I think we're right about the same age. And those two women sell between $20,000 and $30,000 in jewelry monthly.
Crazy.
Doing online parties. So like, clearly that myth could not be further from the truth.
Right. No, and I see that so much on this team, or just at Park Lane in general. Like, the diversity is so refreshing. And I mean that in every sense of the word. The age diversity. I mean, I've got a girl on my team that's 21 and she's rocking it. We've got women who are, retired. The people in the company, like, I don't even know them. There's some people who are like the top in the actual company who are like, way older than, they're not early 50s. Are they?
Right. No.
Been with the company forever.
Yeah. We have women that have been here 20 something years, and this was not their first rodeo. They came with experience from another direct sales company. Yeah. So anyway, it's fun to, when you're in a place, I mean, and you're a problem solver like I am. It's why you had success the first go round. It's why I've had success. When something's not working, you're looking for answers. And as long as you are in a place of believing in the company, believing in the opportunity, then you're like, okay, you say we need to go do that. Okay, well then let's go do that. Like, let's go do that. You believe wholeheartedly because you're like, they're likely right. So that's what we need to go do, until you know differently.
Well, and why wouldn't they? Like, I always told myself, like, whatever's good for me is good for them, right? And I think that belief has shifted a little bit. But it's so fascinating to like look at all of the different ways that I rolled my sleeves up and was willing to get dirty to stay, and like the amount of people that I talked into staying, the amount of belief I tried to instill into other people to the point of like complete exhaustion and burnout. And then I tried to do I know, Tish, this was one of the big connecting points that we had, is that I paid a $25,000, again, an embarrassing thing to say, on coaching for myself, thinking it was me. On this 1-year plan, I paid $25,000 when I was down 90% of my income. But I, at this point, I've been in my business for, well over a decade. So it seemed like, it's going to be fine when it turns around. Like I kept telling myself all the things that they would tell me, like, it'll be fine. This is an investment into me. It's my mindset. It's my learning. It's all about me. And then it was just like, all of a sudden it was seriously, I can't even explain to you. It wasn't one thing that you said or did. It was just like, I swear that God just was like, you need to hear Tish's story. So I'm going to put her on here to give you the story. And then after that, I was just like, I don't even need to hear anymore. Like, I'm just ready to go, and let's do this. Like, I was heartbroken I think it's heartbreaking, and almost, I don't want to say that I was embarrassed, because I did so many amazing things, but it is kind of embarrassing because I think for so long I tried to convince so many other people that it was going to be okay. And when I realized like it truly isn't okay, like it's not going to be okay. And it's not okay. And you can't rebuild. I remember someone saying this to me: you cannot rebuild morale. Trust cannot be re-earned. And the amount of times that I was asked, like, how is morale in the field? And it was like, I don't remember ever saying morale's great right now. Once morale went down, I don't recall ever being like, oh my gosh, everybody's on fire, except for maybe like a week or two after we would have a conference, So when it was time to go, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go. But I went reluctantly, I will say. I think I'm like a lot of other people that I've heard. You leave this industry and you think like, I'm never doing that industry again. Mm-hmm. You think like, it must be the industry. It must be broken. It must all be like this. It must all just have a really short lifespan. It must all just last this long. And then you've got to hop to the next one and get that next ground floor. I mean, those are all the things that I told myself, and all the things that I kind of wanted out of the industry for. But I knew to the core of me that God did not call me to work corporately or anything like that. Like, I knew I was really, really, really good at coaching. Like, I know that that's a gift of mine. I know that teaching is a gift of mine. Facilitating is a gift of mine. But man, doing coaching and teaching and writing and all that with another full-time job, and 5 kids, and worrying that your house is going to get taken from you, and trying to figure out how to pay for the coaching to get you, like we were running our rope was like about this short whenever I found it.
Well, this is the thing. The problem that you had when you first got into the industry, the problem that I had when I first got into the industry, where you were looking for a solution and I was looking for a short-term solution, different story, but some, short-term solution. So were you. That need didn't change 14 years later. You still had you were looking for a solution, a way to earn income flexibly. Now around 5 children, at the time, one baby, now 5 children. My need had not changed. I was looking for a solution and way to earn income flexibly around my family's schedule. And there are millions of other people in the world looking for the same solution. Mm-hmm. The need for a flexible way to earn income from home around your family schedule is not going away.
No.
And that is what is so beautiful about this profession. It's why I'm so passionate about it. I know it's why you're so passionate about it. And
what I found, Tish, was when I was coaching, everybody that I talked to, I can give you 5 names right off the top of my head that called me and were like, how did you become a certified Enneagram coach? And how can I do what you're doing? And how did you write books? And how did you, and I was like, it all costs money. It all costs money that you don't have right now and that I didn't have and that I got myself behind doing. Investing, you know, it costs like $5,000 or $6,000 to write a book and to get published and to get it edited. It costs a couple $1,000s to become a certified Enneagram coach. Like it's not just something you can offer somebody like a $99 kit to get started. And that was what I was missing. And like anybody who knows me, actually just a friend of mine just said this to me the other day. She goes, why do you have to be such a sharer? She's like, you share everything. Like, I don't know. It's just how I'm made. She was teasing me, but like, I don't do anything alone. I never really have. And so for me to coach felt so lonely and I couldn't bring anybody along or really have that tangible piece to change lives that I felt was is kind of a gift of mine.
So, okay. So I have a few questions.
Okay.
You did not sell jewelry before. So now you sell jewelry. So tell me for a moment, what do you love? And you've sold a lot of jewelry.
I just hit my $100,000 mark yesterday.
You sold $100,000. I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that.
I just sold it. Yeah, like literally did the math like before we got on here together.
So you have sold $100,000 in 10 months because you started in November, right? So in 10 months, you've never sold jewelry before. I know that, I mean, you've said you sell like 4 to 5 times here what you ever did, right? Previously. Yeah. When you came on board, you told me, now I'm not a top seller.
I did.
And you're over here like a top seller, just saying.
Actually, what I think I said to you was, I will show up consistently every single month. And I do consistently show up every single month. I was looking at my numbers. I'm like, ooh, look at me. I'm like, and then I'll have like my one standout month. But yeah, I did say I'm not a top seller. And I did. So I want to say this because I feel like it's worth saying. I actually was I wouldn't say a top seller by any means. I wasn't like in the top 100 sellers or anything in my previous company. However, my numbers were well above minimum numbers. I would say probably, my best year was like a $55,000 a year. And that happened like once. Otherwise I was like a $35,000 to $40,000 a year. And so yeah, the change has been, it's yeah. I mean, the jewelry is jewelry is super easy to sell. And the funny thing is, I started buying Park Lane because I just needed a new pair of earrings. I used to buy like 1 or 2 pairs of earrings a year. I didn't even own a single bracelet. I had like 2 necklaces that were like ones I would switch out. Otherwise I would maybe buy a piece here or there, for like a conference or something, or my friends would share. But like, I don't consider myself a fashionista by any means stretch of the imagination. I mean, I have 5 kids. Like I don't have time to care.
Meanwhile, you look adorable with your little French braid and your freshwater pearl necklace and I know. You're playing your animal print little top or dress or whatever. Like you're playing the part, girl.
So it's been fun. I actually do now. I feel like that's been actually one of the things that I have loved the most is being able, I will say, and this is not I never got excited about product at my old company. And maybe that was why. I mean, I didn't like not get excited about it, but I was always so passionate about the opportunity of it. And I think that that's really where, my passion shifted because I no longer felt like there was much of an opportunity to really do what I had done. And I really wanted to be able to share that people could do what I had done. And so like the product was fine, but the opportunity is what had changed my life, that had really shifted for me. So the difference here is that like, I do get excited about the product and that's new for me. So it's so bizarre. Like we've released one new product line since I've been here or 2, I guess. And I mean, I get so excited about the product and I think it's because my customers send me photos of themselves all the time. They feel more beautiful. I'm getting to teach other women about like I know this so totally sounds corny, but like what jewelry does for you. Like, I mean, it does do something for you. It makes you more confident. It makes you feel more beautiful. It makes you look thinner. It makes you look healthier. It makes you look more trendy without making you look like you're trying to dress like your 14-year-old daughter, you know, like
Right.
it does all those things. And once you realize that, without, like, nobody had to train me of that. Somebody just put on a necklace. And I mean,
And you're
this
like,
necklace,
wow.
yeah. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh my gosh, look at this. Like this necklace, I didn't have to think this through. And that's what I love about it, is that, like, first of all, there is something for everyone. If you are a fashionista, you can be that girl and you can be creative. I mean, I love to see what some of our stylists like can put together. And now I kind of get into doing that too. But I think, like, in my truest version of my days, I need something that's already thought out for me. And I want to look like I've got my act together, but I don't want to have put much thought into it. And like, we have jewelry for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's been an easy
transition. Oh,
yeah.
That's fine. Easy transition. Okay. So then my next question is, you've been here almost a year and you've clearly been building a team here, because this is what you do. You love helping, coaching, mentoring women on building their own business. Mm-hmm. What do you feel has been the difference here at Park Lane, where your team members have experienced more success, have, you know, whatever that looks like for them? And it's different for everybody. It might be more income for some. It might be all the free product. It might be earning the car. It might be earning the, you know, the trip, like whatever it is. But what do you feel the differences are, or some of the differences?
I feel like there's a lot of differences. I do think that number one, first and foremost, is that I want to say that Park Lane brings people, like, they honor your experience. Okay. Mm-hmm. And by saying that, I think that people get confused who are not here, right? Like, this kind of goes back to that initial story that I told you, where I was told to stay away from the Park Lane ladies. Mm-hmm. Park Lane shared with me that they would bring me over and I would be able to make a higher percentage on what I sold. I wasn't given a team. I wasn't asked to bring anybody with me. I was just told, like, hey, because you have all this experience, we know you know how to sell things. Clearly, you've been very successful. So we'd like to pay you a little higher percentage just to honor that. And that was why I was able to make the move, in all honesty. And so I love that, because it's not just a story. I mean, everybody watching right now hears that Tish had this experience and I had this experience. They were different companies. And now that I'm here and I know about our direct to point program and I know other women who have been in the same situation, it's like a story that you hear over and over and over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's been a huge difference. It's been a nice way to be able to share with women who do feel stuck, like I did and like you did, that, hey, you can come over here and you can actually make enough money with some changes. And it infused something new into your life too, right? Which gives you some momentum, but also the wisdom of a 66-year-old company is huge. It's reassuring. Mm-hmm. There's, you know, we've been going through a huge growth spurt, but nobody really knows it. Like, we don't know. Mm-hmm. There's something just kind of magical about, just in general, like, from my standpoint, there's something magical about all of these women who have years and years of experience. I hate to say it like this, because I don't mean this as a dig against anybody else, but I love not being the smartest person in the room. And I always felt like at my previous company that, like, I was like, me and a small group of people, we were the ones with the most experience. So I don't mean to say it like that, but it's not that there weren't other smart women, because there are tons of brilliant women there. But it's so nice to come in the room and know that somebody else has had the experience and that it's not all on you to lead that experience.
Well, and you've now, because I remember when you were first coming over, I was like, Lindsay, like, you're going to be able to bring so much to the table. Like, you guys have been doing online parties way longer than we have here. And, you know, you have been running VIP groups way longer than, like, you had things that you could bring to the table. I think you've been so pleasantly surprised to experience that, wow, I'm actually getting to learn so much from these other people as well.
Mhm.
And when you bring experience and knowledge and wisdom from different product categories and different companies and different, people that have done their businesses very differently and very successfully, then I mean, you learn so much. And I know, like last week, you and I were on the phone just a couple of days ago about something that, I learned last week when we had our worldwide booking blitz. We had 24 hours of all of these successful, sellers and recruiters sharing their top tips. And it was like every single one. I mean, I haven't listened to all of them because how could one watch all of them? It was 24 hours of it. But every single one I watched, I was learning something different. I was like, wow, they do that. Wow, wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's I think that that's really cool. I feel like you kind of mentioned too, like, what is my team? I think that what it offers my team is that it's super simple here. There was a lot of distractions prior. And so a lot of my time was spent like refocusing people. Like, oh, don't look over there. Don't look at that. Hey, I know we've got, a new plant coming in, and we've got a new, distribution facility, and so got fired. And like, we don't really have that here because we're hired to, we're contracted. We're not hired, but we're contracted to sell products and to build relationships with our customers and take care of them. That's the only thing that they have to focus on. And while I absolutely adore and learn so much from some of the relationships that I had internally, I feel like it was also super distracting before. And so I think that that's the one thing, is the simplicity of, you sell jewelry and you take care of your customers' stuff. And if you decide that you would like to have a team, you're going to help them do the same thing. It just helps everybody focus in on what they need to focus in on. And then the other thing is the newness here. It's always fresh. It's always new. And the programs here are so, it's almost stupid how simple it is, but how well it works. Like the incentives, it seems as though, again, I used to spend a lot of time, asking people to sell things, rather than here I get to share with people what they're going to earn if they sell it. Now, we got lots of rewards at my previous company too, but I just feel like Park Lane is over the top generous. I mean, it's so insane to me, how many pieces of jewelry that I have and that I earn and that I get for free and that I'm able to gift out because I'm just doing my job. And that's really fun to call your team members who have no experience and be like, hey, guess what you get to do? You get to earn this really fun bracelet, or you get to earn this really great necklace, or whatever. So I love that. I love that there's no quotas. I mean, there's so much that's different. And I think so much of that comes from the wisdom of the company. And there's not this urgency behind all of it. And that's what I love. And I think that that's when people say things to me all the time about how I look so peaceful. And I think it's because I don't feel this urgency to build as fast as I can and grab while it's ground floor, because nothing's ground floor forever. And you don't, when you buy into a ground floor opportunity, when you think of yourself I'm going to get into this ground floor thing, what you have just done is bought into something that you can never sell to somebody else. And we don't have that here. And I think that mindset just shifts everybody. There's just a calmness about it. And I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, and I want to go back to direct to point for a moment, because kind of you saying that, it's something that's very different. Most companies don't have a direct to point program, right? But Park Lane feels very strongly that in corporate America, experience is recognized. And if you were going from company A to company B, you would not be an exec at one company and go in and start at an entry level with another. And they feel like, why should it be any differently here? Because, and you mentioned how you were a title and then you lost that title. And clearly that was likely not very empowering and likely led to you losing belief, right? Like, and I mean, you probably coached a lot of leaders through similar experiences, because I know I coached a lot of my leaders through those experiences. And one of the things that I find with our direct appoint program that is the most valuable is that we have something to offer other people who are in similar scenarios. You know, happy people don't leave their companies. Happy people stay at their companies because they love their company and they're happy.
If somebody if you and I talked in 2012 and you were here and you had the same story, there is no way I ever would have left. I'd have been like, no, you're crazy. Yeah. I was
happy people stay where they are.
Yes.
But when whatever happens in people's lives or within companies that then they become unhappy, they are looking for other options. Some may go back to traditional working. You know, some may layer other side gig opportunities in. And I love that we have something that we can offer. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, you would have never, at my former company, you would have never joined my former company and started at ground zero.
No way. I wouldn't have done that anywhere.
And nor would I have gone to your company. Like what spoke to me at Park Lane was that that my experience was being recognized, that I was coming in as an executive company VP, comparable level to the level that I had built at my previous company, that I would never lose that title. I wasn't having to chase that in order to keep it. I would be paid at that level on a weekly basis, and I would forever be that level unless I promoted up to another level. Mm-hmm. And I love that we can attract the most amazing talent. You are a perfect example of this because you were looking for an option. And I think you can strongly say now, this option is a million times better than the other option you were looking at, which was trying to build a coaching business.
Yeah. And having my own employees and all of that just felt like daunting. And not only that, but I'm an Enneagram coach. And for those of you watching that know what that even is, I'm an Enneagram 7. Like, I like to be happy. I mean, it's almost to a fault. Like, I like to look away from the bad things. And maybe that's why I had it was not easy. Oh my gosh. And Tish knows it's grueling, like excruciatingly painful walking through leaving a company. I'm a team the size of mine. I miss those people and I miss those memories that pop up into my Facebook. It wasn't easy, but I think it was easier for my personality to leave because I'm not someone who will sit in sadness for very long. And so anyway, I just think that there is something really amazing about being able to offer people this like super joyful little place that we have. And like, there's not complaining happening because people are so focused and it's so easy. I don't want to say it's easy because we work hard, but what it boils down to for me is like at the end of the day, people will say what they want to say about our direct appoint program and whether or not it's fair or not fair in the industry. But I came to Park Lane based on a relationship that I had with someone, and they offered me the highest percentage that they offer to come. The interesting thing is it hasn't even mattered. Like now the money has mattered because we needed a certain amount of money. And everybody who follows my story knows that since I joined Park Lane, we also sold what we thought was our dream home and bought a new home, which we're putting a pool in now. And like, it's actually a million times better than our last home in all of our opinion. We love it so much here, but it was a super emotional time. But what I love about Park Lane is that was so different and I always have to explain this to people who want the information to come over here from my previous company, is that it doesn't matter what your title is here. Like, we don't work linearly like that. We don't, like, because of the way that we're paid, it's not like, oh, well, I can't talk to that person because this is technically their leader, or that person, or whatever. Like, we're a team. And that's one thing that I think really, really makes a huge difference. So I had somebody actually ask me that this morning, like, well, why is Park Lane any different than any other MLM or direct selling company? I'm like, well, I don't know about all of them, but I know about several because I've had lots of people leave for them. And so I've done a lot of research over the years. And I would say that the biggest difference is the fact that, like, the company only takes 2%. Like, they are very open about that. 98% of what we make at Park Lane goes back into the company, into the field. And because I only live an hour and a half from the home office, I have had the privilege of just popping in up there one time. And it's not like some super fancy, like, huge, crazy place. It's not super showy, because, the super showy conferences and the high dollar performances and the beautiful backdrops and the amazing technology, like all of those things. In the beginning, I was kind of nervous about not having those things, but over time I've realized the reason we don't have those things is because we are, like, old school, and that the relationship makes us the money. Like, we're so in the way of, like, they're not spending money on all of these things that don't matter. They're spending money to keep us happy and impacting our families. And that's huge to me.
I remember the statistic that was given to me was, and I could be, my memory's not the best, but like somewhere between 70 to 74%, something like that, 73, 74% of the revenue that is brought in from Park Lane goes back into the Park Lane compensation plan, 73, 74%. Your typical company, I can't speak for, because I mean, these are things companies don't tell, they're not telling the reps, but your typical company is somewhere between 30, 34, 35%. So they put, their mission, Shirley Levine's true mission when she started this company, and the Levine's mission is to help women be able to make a big impact in their lives. That's the mission. And they put the money in the most important places, and it matters. I mean, it matters, and it makes a difference. So I'm very
products and the programs and this is one of the other things, like going back to that initial question you asked me, which is like, what's the difference for your people, is that in my previous company, because our products were customized, it was really, really difficult to be super creative and to create different looks and things like that. Well, here, I mean, we have so much free jewelry. Like, when I tell you all we have so much free jewelry, we have so much free jewelry, which is amazing, because we can choose what we do with it, right? We don't have like a bunch of rules per se either. Like, we have integrity and ethics here, and that's really it. It's kind of like, do what's right. And we don't have like a department that is calling to check on the way we're like, so if I earn free jewelry, I can sell the free jewelry. I can wear the free jewelry. I can use it for incentives for things. I can use it to reward my new team members. I can use, like, I have the freedom because I am an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, and I'm smart, and I can use that for what I need in my business. And nobody is asking me like, oh, why did you do a sale and discount that at half off? You can't do that. And it's kind of like, well, because it's in my home and I needed to sell it. Like, I wanted to I want to make room for more, but so I love that aspect, that my team is equipped for their job all the time, over equipped in some ways. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I get a package and I'm like, okay, I don't know what's in here, but I hope I have room to put it somewhere.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm so happy for you. I'm happy that you decided you were going to follow the advice you put in your book, which is what I said to you when you started telling me about your book, and then I ordered it and I read it. I'm like, okay, so like literally the advice that you have in your book is like what, you are facing at this moment. And you knew and you believed, Lindsay, and you trusted yourself and you trusted your judgment. You got educated and you just decided, I'm not good. And I had the same naysayers saying the same kind of stuff. And what I've learned is, when a company doesn't feel they can compete with what is, with programs, with compensation, with the perks that another company offers, then they just go to the negative. Mm-hmm. They just bash because that's all they know to do. Mm-hmm. And that may work on the short term, but in the long term, the truth prevails. And I've been here 3.5 years. You've been here almost a year. And I've watched that in my journey. People start going, well, they said this, but doesn't look like that's happening. And they said that, but that doesn't look like that's happening. And they said, she needed to be careful, but she seems to be real. Like, it's just, so.
Yeah, there's two things that I just thought of. And I know we're kind of like talking forever, so I don't want to make it too long, but there's two things. Is that number one, I will say this, I don't want to say I was like the most skeptical person ever coming over here, but I mean, because
you were skeptical.
I was very skeptical. And even in the first few months, it was like I was second guessing everything. I didn't believe anybody's intentions because I had seen what had happened previously, where I was given a lot of promises that weren't followed through on. And so I was super skeptical. Everything that was shared with me has not only happened, but happened at a better, faster rate than I would have ever imagined. The leadership here is phenomenal, both inside and outside of Park Lane. The relationships with the people who work at the home office are just enough, but not like overly involved. They're very professional. So to me, it's like almost that perfect combination of that corporate feel, but also, and it wasn't like that before. Everybody was all so wrapped up in the personal relationship that I feel like there was a little bit of like that fun. I like to sell things. I love selling things. I loved sharing what I love. And I almost felt like it was getting too into the softer side previously. And then the other thing is, I hear people say a lot, and I hear them say this about me. I've heard you say that people have said this about you, and some other women say something similar, but it's like people think that I've changed. And I had posted something yesterday a little bit about this, but like, people say that they think I've changed, but I haven't really changed at all. I've always been a story sharer. That's why I wrote a book, right? I mean, I shared some really personal stories in my book. And not only that, but like I did the scary, like one of top 3 scariest things I could have ever thought of, which was left a company and my very best friends, some from before I was with my previous company, and some, that I developed along the way, people we vacationed with, we raised our children together, things like that. Like I did the scariest known thing I could possibly do. So you can't do something like that and not come out of it changed. It changes you. And I don't mean that I'm changed like I'm different. I mean, I'm changed like I've never believed in myself or my abilities more than I do right now. And here's the kicker. This is the one thing that I feel like I need to say this, because I just feel like I need to say it, is that if I found an opportunity better than Park Lane, I could go do this somewhere else. Now, Park Lane's opportunity is pretty phenomenal, and I don't know that I'm never going to find that somewhere else, but they've never tried to convince me that like, this is the only way, or this is the only place, or I'm not going to be able to do what I do somewhere else. And they know that, and they value that. And I think that that's been just really huge. And I just felt like I should say that because it's about me and what I'm capable of when I pair that with a company that is also prepared and capable.
Well, and I think that again, 66 years in the business now, the company, and they haven't had a compensation plan change in it was like 35 years when I came here. So now it's been 3+ years. So we're going on close to 40 years without a compensation plan change. Prior to that, the change would be an enhancement. Like they just made it better. I think there's just, with that, Lindsay, comes a confidence level. Like you're just confident. You're confident in your business, and you're confident in your security, and you're confident in what is possible here. And in a very short period of time, you've been able to see what your team members have been able to do, and you've been able to watch people earn more than maybe they ever have before, or earn quickly if they're coming into the business without any experience. And so there's just a confidence level that comes with that, you know? And it is why women come here and they stay for decades. It's why, you know, I was really intrigued by and talked to women who, before I made my switch, I talked to women who had been with Park Lane 20 years, 25 years, you know, heard the stories. And I mean, it just, you can't fake that. It either is or it isn't. And so,
and I hear from people all the time who will be in my shows. It's interesting because a lot of my generation is like, oh, I've never heard of it. And then their mom or grandma will pop in and they're like, oh my gosh, I have Park Lane, you know, or I used to work for Park Lane. I sold Park Lane for 15 years. And if a lot of them don't anymore, because that's the industry that we are in. And it's a high turnover industry. And it's so fascinating to me. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Park Lane or their experience with the product, with the, you know, with their stylists, with the company, none of that. Like the family that owns it, all of those things that I felt like you just don't hear. Like you hear the bad things from the people who think they know but haven't actually experienced it. But the people who have actually been here have never, obviously people who stay are never going to tell you the bad things because they stayed, they like it. But the people who have left also have great things to say.
That's right. That's right. And that was another thing you reminded me. When I was doing my research, I actually had come across some Park Lane people who had left. And I called and talked to those people. And they left to, like, one started a coaching business, shocker. One, you know, like,
and comes back and coaches frequently.
And the funny thing was, every single person I talked to, if they were no longer the, all they said was, "Oh my gosh, you will not meet a better family running a company. You will not. They are so generous. They are so loving. They are honest. They are with integrity. Like they are everything and more. They are everything and more." I mean, that is just what I heard over and over and over and over. And, you know, ultimately when I was looking to make my decision, there were lots of reasons pointing me to make the change. I couldn't find reasons pointing me not to. Mm-hmm. And that's when you have to go and like dig deep inside and go, okay, then all that's left here is my fear of the unknown, the fear that I maybe can't do this again, the fear that I got lucky, the fear. And then you're like, stop. Like,
yeah.
Enough is enough. I've got this.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that we were kind of talking about earlier about like what people say, you know, hey, the direct appoint program is so different. And it's so, that was a big question that I had. I had that question, and I had some questions about the Direct Selling Association, which we don't even have time to get into, but I found that conversation that is so fascinating when I dug into why a company would be part of that association or not, and that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of companies that are fantastic companies that are not part of it. And anyway, I am a researcher. I do my homework too, but when faced with the question, like, okay, even with my previous company, if a top level leader from any other company would have come to me and been like, oh my gosh, I hate my job, or maybe not even saying they hate their job, because I don't know that I ever would have actually said that, other than I would have been like, I'm exhausted. I'm really tired. It's very hard right now. But in those days, if somebody would have said that to me, I'd have been like, I know they wouldn't have come because they wouldn't have wanted to come over and make 25%, but like I would have tried, and anybody else would be lying if they said they wouldn't. They totally would be like, come try it here, see what it's like, even though, you know, we know that when those people are making those big incomes, they're not going to do it. You'd still try it. And so for people to say that it's bad that we offer that at Park Lane, it's kind of like, it's just that we have the resources because the company has been so generous and has been around for so long to be able to offer it. And that's not our fault. You know, like that's not a fault. That's a blessing.
But it's also a value that they believe in. They believe that, you know, you built and have experience, and that experience is deserving of being respected.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to come in and pretend like the 10 or 15 years you had before didn't happen. It did. So we're going to recognize you for that experience, and you still have to, it's up to you to go rebuild it, but you're going to be recognized for that experience. And because it is part of their value system, they believe that that is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what it does is it gets you, I think that like what I was saying before, you know, it doesn't matter what your title is here. It doesn't really matter in the fact that like, it's not like we're privileged to something super special other than it gets you, it tells other people this person may be able to help you. This person may be, and that's what I've mostly been blown away by at Park Lane is the servant leadership, the people who like pour into one another. And it's just joy here. Like I don't want to say we don't have any problems because we totally have problems, but we do have the proper solutions to the problems. Like we have the proper programs in place to help with the problems. But like, I mean, people are happy here. It is like amazing to never see like negative posts or have to talk people, you know, like off of ledges of being like, no, you know, you want to stay. And like we don't have to do that because people are selling jewelry and they're making great side income or, you know, full-time income, and they love it.
I'm so happy. I'm happy that your people are happy. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that we had that conversation a year ago.
Me too.
And, you know, you just were like, okay, wait a minute. This is like, our stories are really similar. Anyway, it's just all been so awesome, Lindsay. So,
I'm the one that's thankful. So thank you. And, you know, somebody asked me recently.
Someone asked the name of your book.
Someone
asked the name of your book.
My book is called Lifted: How to Ditch Fear, Obligation, and Guilt and Live Your Best Life.
Lifted.
So that was what Tish asked me. She said, actually her and another friend of mine said, if you were coaching yourself, would you say you're living without fear, obligation, and guilt? And I was like, oh, rude. Don't ask me that.
You can buy it on Amazon. I did.
Yep.
I did right after I got off the phone with Lindsay. I bought it and read it that weekend. It's good.
Well, thank you, Tish, for taking this time and for allowing me to tell my story, because I do think that, I mean, the reason I tell my story is because I think that other women need to know that they're not stuck.
I mean, there's always options and there is always a solution. And for me, we won't get into this now because I know we're at 1 hour and 8 minutes, but for me, a book that was very powerful. I didn't read it at the time knowing that it was going to lead to what it led to, but I read a book and attended a conference centered around the teachings of the book, The Big Leap, in the fall before I made my change the following spring. And I left that retreat with a completely different mindset. And I was like, it's like everything that I were presented to me, every door I was walking through, I was looking at things through a different lens. And I think it is why I decided, you know, then fast forward a few months to just sit down and have a conversation. and learn more, because any smart businesswoman would. Like, if someone came to me asking me, should I go learn more about this company that's been, that is interested in talking to me, I would say, well, yeah, go. I mean, I teach my kids that. I teach my kids that, for goodness sakes. Like, I'm not saying go, but just go get educated. Like,
that's learner, right? Like, find out what. Yeah, if you notice that people are leaving who you respect, that's the thing that I feel about it, is like, if at one point you respected and identified with and really felt mentored by someone, why not find out why that person left, instead of assuming that they've changed or that somebody's tricked them? Like, maybe they're super, super smart still, and maybe they still have all the wisdom and abilities that you knew them to have. But maybe
the heart.
Yeah. And I mean, but maybe it's just that you're only seeing from the perspective you've always been at. And that's, I don't know. I just feel like, what does it hurt to learn something?
One of the things that I remember, kind of my ahas that happened after I read that book, was because, again, my experience had been 5 years of growth, 5 years of decline. And after reading that book and spending a couple days talking about some of the teachings in that book, I was like, I know where my passion is. My passion and my mission is helping women build businesses, helping women build incomes, helping women change their lives. Like, that is where my passion is. That has not changed in all of these years. And I had spent the last few years at my former company, it was like just trying to keep people, all the things. I was no longer getting to help people change people's lives. There was no life changing happening. I was just trying to convince people that this was the right place. And I mean, because I believed it was. I believed it was until I knew differently. I believed until I knew differently. Then ultimately, when I decided to make the change, I was like, my mission hasn't changed. My mission is exactly the same, but I'm having to take a sharp right turn and form a new partnership to continue in my mission. Mm-hmm. My mission hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And so that's like where my clarity it became crystal clear that my mission has not changed, but it is now time for me to take a sharp right turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And mine always was the same too. And the amount of frustration I would have watching really smart, hardworking women, like, treading water. Like, it was like they were running as, fast as they could, but they weren't making any progress. And then it was like pure frustration. And then seeing a couple of them come to Park Lane and take off like crazy. And it's really fascinating. And it's really cool to see women who maybe would have been looked at previously as mediocre because they didn't find the previous company at the right time, come over here and like kill it, because there isn't a good or bad time here, because there's such abundance. I mean, women will always love jewelry. Jewelry will always be sentimental. It will always be fun. It will always be something that is gifted. And it's what Park Lane does. And they don't.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, it is a consumable, because fashion is a consumable. We are constantly updating our wardrobe. I mean, it's just what women do.
And we've never changed that. That's what we do. And that's what we've always done. Where, like, I can't even tell you all the crazy different products that I sold previously, because we would try different things or try this or that, because, we were still trying to they were still trying to find their way. I don't exactly know, but there was always shifts in products and what we were offering. And then, I don't know. So anyway, jewelry's fun. It's fun. It's honestly, it's easy. Obviously you got to show up and you got to do the work, but it's simple. I wouldn't say it's necessarily easy, but it's very simple. It's easy to stay focused, and it's easy when the programs are so fun. Like, oh, by the way, people, I want a Gucci bag.
I wish you would have. It is in the mail.
I know.
it would have arrived today where you could show it. This gal was our third Gucci bag winner on Monday, and I pulled your name. I wish I had the envelope. I still have all the names in there from Monday. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of names, and I pulled your name.
So excited. I mean, I had been like Googling Gucci bags, and I was like, I cannot buy a Gucci bag. Like, we just got our lives back. Like, I cannot buy myself a Gucci bag. I am not kidding you though. So then I was like, well, I guess maybe I could buy a Coach. No, probably not. Shouldn't do that. Maybe I'll get like a Michael Kors or something. And then you pulled my name. I was like, oh my gosh. Yes.
It's going to look fabulous with what you're wearing right now. Like, it'll be like, literally look so cute with what you're wearing. So anyway, thank you, Lindsay. Thank you so much. I know your kids are coming home soon, but thank you again. I appreciate it.
All right,
bye, everybody. Thank y'all. Okay.